And then we were growing up, as we were growing up, we have to go to school, and then they taught us about the planets and the moons. We learned that Pluto was a planet then, and then now we have to unlearn that Pluto is no longer a planet. And as we grow up, we learn in English that we have to reach for the stars and shoot for the stars. So all of us have had stars, some sort of knowledge about the stars. Today, we have the honor to have two photographers, okay, who literally shoot the stars, and they will be sharing their experience in astrophotography with us. Okay, we are happy to host them. Who is this we that we're talking about? We are part of nature. We are Malaysian Nature Society. We are part of a whole 14 branches across Malaysia, and we hope that you will also be able to join us. Okay, lend your voice to nature. This is what it only costs you. Okay, for a year, if it's a family membership, it's 80 ringgit. And then subsequently for renewal, it's only 70 ringgit. For ordinary membership, you can see the price over here. And if you are a youth between 18 to 25 years old, it only costs you 15 ringgit. And then you have a 10 ringgit subscription for the next year. If you are in a school and you have the Club Pencinta Alam in school, the whole club, I think, has a subscription of 50 ringgit per year. But you would need a teacher to be the voice or the representative. So let us know if you need to have a Club Pencinta Alam in your school. And as you can see, there's a link over here, https www.mns.my join us. If you click on that, you will see this. It invites you to look at it, why join us, and have the membership. So we hope if you're not a membership or a member already, do sign up, right? And those who are members, and if it's time for renewal, do renew it. So I'll take just a little bit here because we are from the MNS Negeri Sembilan, Melaka. This is all this time that we are going out, we're taking our phones and scanning our QR code, scan this. It will lead you to our Facebook page. It will lead you to your YouTube page of MNS Negeri Sembilan Melaka. Do click like and share. We look forward to your likes and your sharing. Okay. We would also like to inform a little bit about our echo-partners.online. This is a branch app that was produced, and the main benefit is for you to be able to register for talks with a single click of button. Over here, there's also quizzes with prizes for you to win, and whatever you have done, all the rewards, okay, that you'll be given, it will also go through this app. And for students especially, not the homeschoolers, yeah, but for the students in school, the extracurricular activity points, you are able to earn it, okay, and it is all recorded in the app. So why is this app important? Because then you get special discounts as well. So do look at it. What we would like to say is that there will be many, many interesting talks, just like the one we had this afternoon at 2 o'clock. It was on climate change. Dominic and team, there were 4 excellent speakers, and they were talking about climate change. Every 2 weeks, we will have talks like this. This year, we are focusing on the SDG, especially for life on Earth, life below water. So they are beautifully crafted. It will go on all the way to October 30th. And you will see October 30th, that name is very familiar to a lot of homeschoolers like us. Kent will also be speaking. You will see Dr. Kali is also there. You'll see Professor Sean Lam is there. Maria will also be speaking. All these are very interesting speakers over here. Okay. Now, without further ado, let me give a brief introduction to who our superstars are today, right? There's always mentioned that shoot for the stars, but if you miss, shoot for the moon, yeah? This is Superstar Go, okay, with his beautiful picture. The backdrop is about volcano. Mr. Go is actually a chemist by qualification, but he dabbles in photography as a hobby. So you may know how serious his hobby is, yeah, because he gives us super pictures like this. He dabbled into DSLR photography in 2011, but before that, he was only using point and shoot, using a compact flat pocket-sized camera. So after he was shooting the DSLR by auto mode for 1 year, he decided to switch to shooting by manual mode. So he says his only regret was he should have done this years earlier. So while we are sleeping soundly, right, in our cozy bed, this is the guy who will wait like a night owl. He will wait for the moon to come. He will wait for the eclipses. He will wait for all this. While we are cozy, sleeping in our bed, you know, he will catch pictures and moments of our winged feathered friends. Yeah. And he has gone to many countries. He has shared with us how he takes photographs in excruciatingly punishing weather conditions. So that is Mr. Go for you. Our second speaker is Dr. Sua. Dr. Sua, it might surprise you, Dr. Sua is actually a principal of Zhonghua High School in Seremban, but he resides in Shah Alam, Selangor. So his array of telescopes, you have to see the picture over here, it's very spectacular and to say the least impressive. So those of you who are thinking of telescopes, where to purchase it, you might want to ask Dr. Sua. I had the liberty of interviewing these two gentlemen, and because of them, right, I had to get some spectacular background for my virtual background. They've got awesome pictures. So what we will do is that I will pass it over to Mr. Go right now. Okay, Mr. Go, over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for my introduction. Can you hear my voice? Huh? Can you hear my voice? Okay.
Yes, we
So
can.
I'm okay. I'm very honored and humble that I have been one of the speakers for today to talk to you about photography from the astrophotography aspect. The photo that I'll be sharing with you are only taken from my camera. No telescope, whatever. But that is another the next stage of my experience. Okay, so today what I'm going to share you is briefly on this. Okay, my interest on photography cover three areas. I started as on landscape photography for many years until 2017 when the SEA Games was held in KL, and there was an ice skating stadium held near my house. It was 10 minutes Empire City there. So I took the opportunity to go and see it, and I love it so much that I go and buy land, 200, 500 land, just to shoot the ice skating photograph. And after that, after the SEA Game was over, I couldn't find anything to do with the land. So I start to dabble into wedding. Start look at the star and shoot at start look at the moon and shoot at the moon. So that's how I get started into astrophotography. Okay. So these are the countries that I travel over the years. So basically, I really started serious photographing actually in year 2012. Before that, it was just simple, even DSLR, I just photo, just click only, right? But after 1 year, I realized that actually to learn photography, you have to use manual. Manual teaches you a lot about photography, right? How you play with aperture, how you play with shutter speed, how you play your ISO. Then it make you really understand your camera well and how photography work. So these are the lenses which I use. I've been a loyal Nikon customer. I started with D7000 and then later on upgrade to D4 and D850. Right? And the most commonly used lens I use ultra wide 1424, and after that 200, 500. Right? And the one highlighted in yellow are those that I use in my astrophotography. What I'm going to share with you today, I will be touching on this solar system, the moon, the Milky Way, and so on until the planet. Okay, let's move on. Okay, So when you talk about astrophotography, basically we cover quite a lot of area. I've covered from the bottom left, the northern light, northern light. Then you have the light pillars. Then you have the meteor shower, you have planet Jupiter, comet, and then star trail and Milky Way. There are some like galaxy and nebula. These are the area that which I would love to get involved after getting some inspiration from Dr. Sua. Okay, let's look at our solar system. Briefly, our solar system. Okay, so my first foray into astrophotography, I started with the moon, right? The moon, that was in 2018, right? Okay, from here, the moon is the second brightest in the sky. And then how the moon affect us is you affect our tide. So if the moon, the gravitational pull of the moon affect the earth tide, it actually means a lot to photographer, right? Especially if you are shooting bird, like the shorebird, the tide make a lot of difference to you, whether it's the right time to go or not to go, right? Or if you are seeing taking picture like blue tears, right? Then again, the high tide matter, right? So the moon was first taken, the first photograph of the moon was taken in 1851 by John Adam, right? And then this was the moon that I shot 2 days ago of our latest super moon, the strawberry moon, right? And from this picture, you could see, can see the Tycho crater, you have see the Copernicus crater, and you also see the Kepler crater. So basically, from here, it's quite amazing that even our camera, with a 200, 500 camera, we can see some detail of this moon surface, right? And if you venture further into those telescope, I believe you can see more detail, right? So when you talk about supermoon 2 days ago, so what does it mean? Supermoon means it is bigger. It appear bigger. Appear bigger by about 14% and appear brighter, right? Okay, that is the difference. That means the moon actually is nearer to Earth during the period of supermoon. Okay, so last Sunday, we just passed the solar eclipse. Solstice, summer solstice, right? So in the summer solstice, the sun will be very high and the moon will be very low, right? So for those who actually live near area the seaside, you may be able to capture the moon with some reddish or amber appearance when they are coming up from the sea horizon. But unfortunately, in KL, we can't, right? Okay. So to understand the moon, right, we have to look at the different phase of the moon, right? On the left is the sun, right? You can see the moon. On the left facing the moon is the new moon. That means you see nothing, you see no moon in the sky, all right? The moon is there, but you cannot see, right? Because it is blocked by blocked by this side. So after that, you go to the first quarter moon, right? And then full moon, then you go back to third quarter and go back to full moon. So basically, like in the Chinese calendar, normally the triad this year don't have any moon, right? Then full moon, very bright. Okay, I have taken a series of moon phase in here to share with you. That this is the waning crescent, 5%. Then you have 16% waning crescent. Then this is 21.9%. Then this is almost first quarter, right? Because if it's 50%, it is first quarter. Then you have the waning gibbous, 62%, right? And 75%, 92%, And I captured this actually from my balcony of my house, looking for outward to the country height, all those hillside bungalow. Okay, and this is the silver moon, strawberry moon, captured a day ago, right? And this is the Venus gibbous, right? And sometimes, if you see a lot of cloud in the sky, don't despair. Sometimes, although the moon you cannot get it, but sometimes you can capture a nice, colorful surrounding, right, of the cloud, and also the moon. And this is the full moon on the Thursday night, all right, when this super moon reaches its maximum. And this is the photo by Yong Ai Jin from Sabah, where last night we cannot catch it, but her side was clear, so she able to capture it at about 9:51. Okay, and this picture, sometimes I wake up about 3-4 o'clock, and sometimes I see, the setting moon is coming down quite near to the Telco Tower. So sometimes we wait until about 7-8 o'clock, it's down. But sometimes it missed to the right or sometimes to the left. So we waited until on that day, the moon landed nicely on the Telco Tower. Right? Like this morning I took also, but it landed slightly left of the tower. Okay, so with the moon, you also have Earthshine. So what is Earthshine? Earthshine is something like when the moon is in the crescent mode, right? The crescent is the part that is illuminated by the sun. But what about the other part, which is not illuminated, is the hidden, right? So what happened is the light reflected from the sun that fall onto the earth reflected back to the moon. So you get the earth shine, right? And normally, when do you look for earth shine? Normal earth shine is a few days before the new moon and a few days after new moon. Then you can capture the earth shine, right? Okay, now let's move to Milky Way. Milky Way, okay, if you look at Milky Way on the clear dark night, clear dark night, you can see a hazy band of light in the sky, right? And when to see is make sure that you don't have any moonlight, big moon or full moon or 1/4 moon, 3/4 moon shining in the sky because you won't be able to see. The best is around the new moon period, right? And you see the main thing to look for is this galactic core, right? This is the center of the Milky Way. And basically, what is Milky Way? Milky Way is basically star, right? There are about 100 to 400 billion of stars, right? And their diameter is so huge that you're talking about 100,000 light years to 180,000 light years, right? So as a whole, Milky Way also moves, right? About 600 km per hour. So sometimes shooting Milky Way also you have some challenges, especially because the Milky Way are moving, right? Our Earth are also rotating, right? Although we don't feel our Earth rotating, but basically our Earth actually is rotating speed about 1,000 miles per hour. Okay, so this is the Milky Way that I shot in Sabah at Kudak. Kudak actually in whole Malaysia for shooting Milky Way, Kudak always considered the best or clearest sky in Malaysia to shoot Milky Way, right? Because the sky is clear, the atmosphere there is beautiful, right? Because in like area in Kuala Lumpur or KKB, we have a lot of light pollution because we are near to city. Okay, this is also shot in Kudak, right? In this picture actually is a composite of two pictures. I shot the Milky Way. I shot the seaside, right? Because it's impossible to shoot the Milky Way because you need a total darkness to shoot. So if you total darkness, you cannot see all this rock, right? So in order to capture the picture, you have to take two pictures. One exposed for the ground with the boulder, and one exposed for the Milky Way. Then you blend them together in post-processing. Right? Otherwise, you cannot get them. Right? Okay, this is the same, and another place in Padang. Right? Okay, this is another place. Okay, this was taken in Indonesia, right? Two separate years. One is taken in 2019 and one is taken 2018. And these are all different locations. And I was lucky enough that while I was shooting with my friend for Milky Way, you can see the very faint Milky Way up here at the lake in Sembilan. I was so lucky that I managed to capture a shooting star, right? Because I was taking this Milky Way at about 30 seconds, right? And while I was taking, suddenly I look up, hey, how come there's a big ball of fire in the sky coming down towards us? You know, I panicked because I thought the aeroplane crashed, because there were a lot of aeroplanes that night flying crisscrossing in the sky. You know, I thought aeroplane crashed. You know, I didn't know. We were thinking where to run, but luckily it was not aeroplane crash. It was a shooting star. Okay, this Milky Way was taken in Jugra, Banting, the lighthouse, right? And during that night, when I went there to shooting with my friend, I noticed there were a group of young astrophotographers here, with all their gear, with all their telescope, shooting for nebula. Okay, and this is also another place in Banting where we shoot Milky Way around the old bridge, right? The old bridge. Okay, this is the Kuala Kubu Baru, a very famous spot where a lot of people who want to shoot Milky Way, this is the place that they normally go, right? But this picture become very common because everybody go here, everybody shoot the same thing, right? So if you want to make a picture interesting, you must find one that is foreground. Because this road actually a lot of car moving, moving up and down. So there's a lot of disturbance. So you have to wait until no car, then you shoot, right? But this picture, anybody also can take. You take, I take, everybody take all the same picture, right? So if you want to make it different, to make sure your Milky Way picture look interesting, right? You have to think of how to put a nice foreground, right? But from here, where cannot find any foreground, right? What you do? No foreground? How? Create on. We can create a foreground. Just like our photography friend Mitchell, he create a foreground, right? He become a model with Congress, and then he took a light painting. And so this Milky Way picture now with a nice foreground, right? So it makes it a bit different from other Milky Way. Okay, so when is the best time to shoot Milky Way? In the northern hemisphere, it's late April, late July. But for those like us in the southern hemisphere, we have a longer period, February to October. The peak is about June to July, right? So you can plan your Milky Way location. There are a lot of free app and also some paid app, like Photofield, Star Walk, Photographer, Ephemeris, or Tellarium. Okay, there are many more, right? So these are just a few examples. Now, camera setting is normally if you can go for about f2.8 up to 4, f4 aperture, right? Try to have a wide angle lens or ultra wide, right? I normally use about 14 mm, right? Because I capture as big as possible. And the shutter speed, you need long exposure, 10 to 20 seconds, right? Or depend on also the condition and also depend on your aperture that you're using, right? And in order to shoot all these things to make sure that picture come out crisp and nice, this rule is very important. The 500 rules. 500 rules. That means let's say if you are using a 14 mm lens to shoot the Milky Way. Now all these Milky Way are star, right? They are all the summit from star. So when you shoot your star, if you shoot, your exposure is longer. For example, 14 mm, 500 rule is 35.7. So if you, example, you put your exposure, let's say 40 seconds or 45 seconds, what happened? Your star trail, all your star trail, right? Got a trail there. So you didn't get a nice, sharp twist picture, right? So try to keep it below, right? And to shoot all these things, first of all, you have to find in the dark sky a star, or for you to focus. And once you focus at infinity, lock it, right? And switch to manual mode. Balance, white balance, you can use about 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin, right? But for shooting a good Milky Way, you cannot handheld. You must have a 30 tripod with a cable release or IR remote, right? Now, in June 22nd, 2017, something happened in Kudak, Sabah. Right? This phenomenon only happened in Arctic region, but Sabah was lucky to see this happening. Right? Where did they see this? They was around Kelambu Beach. Kelambu is in Kudak. And what you see here is actually an island, right? An island, and they join connected to the mainland by two tembolo or sandbar, all right? The sandbar is about 200 meters long. Right? Okay, this is the light pillar, right? And this was taken by a group of Singapore photographers. And I'm not mistaken, our Eddie Chua was also there, taking this light pillar. Okay, and this is the place that happened in 2017, right? And 2018, myself and a few of my friend, I think Chini also was there, right? We went to this place, and Michael Pasler was also there. We cannot see anything. 2008, we see nothing, totally nothing. So again, we tried. 2019, we went again. So this trip was organized by Eddie Chua and his partner, right? And we shot. We are so lucky that while we are shooting the Milky Way, suddenly the organizer say, "Hey, look back, back of you. Oh, light pillar at the back of opposite side of the Milky Way." So we took this picture, right? And then this was our Cristiano Mongoli is our local guide there, and photographer. He took, see the light pillars. Then in July, middle of July, 2020, that's last year, I went hunting. Hunting for what? Hunting for something, hunting for a comet. A comet. I spent 8 nights, and another 2 more nights I asked Mr. Alex Fong to go with me. We went to survey in Sekinchang and this Tanjung Karang, right? Why is this so special? Because it is once in a lifetime, right? This comet will never come back to Earth, to near Earth where we can see it after 6,800 years after last year, right? So we tell ourselves, we want to capture this one. We hope we can capture. But unfortunately, during that period, July, August, every day we see the sky is so cloudy, covered by cloud, dark cloud, wet cloud, cannot see anything, right? And this nearby was easily seen where? In the northern hemisphere, right? But in the southern hemisphere, it's very difficult. Although the chances is very slim, but we tell ourselves, we go and try. At least we give it a try. Even if we don't get, at least we try, right? And we are so lucky that after on the 10th night, both me and Alex Fong, we capture it, right? And a few of us capture it also, which I will show you, right? So I travel from Port Houston to Shah Alam to Klang Tanjung Kerang, right? And this is where I met Harris, I met Jared, I met Goping, and he showed me his 6 inches telescope, right? This is a sandbar, PD, right? I waited here and then waited until from my app, actually the nearby is supposed to be here. But when I left about midnight, nothing. because all cloud. When I reached home, it was about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And then the next day, I traveled to Tanjung Karang to shoot. And we're lucky that we got it. Okay, so that the comet we are referring to is Neowise, the Neowise comet. Right? This characteristic of the Neowise is very beautiful. You have all these are gases, the nucleus, corona, and you got the blue. All these are gaseous substance. Because these only comet are made of ice, right? Ice. You look at it here. The coma is a cloud of comet dust, and then the comet here has two tails, right? One of dust particle and one of electrical charge gas, right? And on July 3rd, comet come very close to the sun, right? Come very close to the sun at 40 million km. And that time, we were asking ourselves, what if comet burn up by the sun, too hot, burn up, then we will see nothing, right? But luckily, the comet survived. And then it went on until early September, early August, again in the beautiful clear sky for many astrophotographers to observe and also capture it. And this is the one that you captured in Kuala Tanjung Karang, West Selangor. Okay, this is the fishing village, right? And here is so tiny here, right? It was actually cloudy the whole night, right? Mr. Fong's wife and my wife and children all were eating at the restaurant. Me and Ella Fong was standing at the jetty there, hoping that we can get a few minutes or a few seconds of the cloud open up and then we can capture and then we go home, right? And actually, finally, at about 9:30 or 9:40, we got it. And then we go back. You see the beautiful, right? Earlier, before this 2026, this nucleus was actually quite whitish color, right? But on the later part of July, what happened is the comet moved away further away from the sun. So when it moves further away from the sun, the burnout diminishes and it changes to a bluish green color, right? Okay. You can see here very tiny dot, right? And all was cloudy. Okay, and this picture, he's the real expert, William Chin. He captured this new life beautifully, right? In Mersing, right? Mersing. I captured on the 26th, he captured on 25th, one day before in Mersing. And Mersing is one of the areas where they offer you clear sky, night sky to capture Milky Way or capture comet, right? So he captured it beautifully. And another astrophotographer, Samet Chong, he captured on the same day, but he was in Kuala KKB, Kuala Kubu Baru, right? The lake there, right? So beautiful. Right? So far, only in Malaysia, at least are the few fellows we know that they capture it, right? And then the only thing that we saw in other countries are like Singapore, this group of Esther, Thomas, Tay, Taklun, they capture in Kranji Dam, right? They capture the Neowise. And then another one in North Sumatra, capture it. And then this in the US, this Calvin Rowland actually is a fantastic astrophotographer. He captured the whole full Milky Way at the same time capture the nearby comet here. Right? Okay, and then we also have the Stonehenge, the comet, and Austin. Okay, now let's move to solar eclipse. Right? Solar eclipse is talking about the sun. Right? So if you want to see solar eclipse, you want to take picture, make sure you wear the proper eclipse glasses or shade to protect your eye. Okay, there are three types of solar eclipse. You have partial, you have annular, you have total, right? So an eclipse, solar eclipse can happen if the moon comes between the sun and the earth. And you have two areas under the moon, right? The shadow here, for the umbra, which is the darkest part, and then the panorama, which is the not so dark, right? So in the 21st century, basically there are about 224 solar eclipses, right? Break down into partial 77, annular 73, total 68, and hybrid 7. Hybrid actually basically in between total and annular, right? So in total solar eclipse, it looks like this. You cannot see anything, right? You only can see the moon is nearer to the earth, further away from the moon, from the sun, that it totally block up the whole sun disk, right? And the last one happened was in the year 1098, right? It lasted 7 minutes, 5 seconds. Then in 73, again, it lasted 7 minutes, 4 seconds, right? In the year 2009, it lasted the longest, 7 minutes, 32 seconds. So when is the next total solar eclipse? They are predicted to be this year, December 4th. Whether Malaysia can see or not, I don't know, right? But somewhere in the world, we may be able to see. Now, this is the 2019 annular solar eclipse, right? And I remember I was in my office in Shah Alam at about 11 o'clock. I saw somebody posted, hey, today I got annular eclipse. Oh, wow, I quickly rushed back. When I reached back my house, 12:30, I set up my camera and I start shooting. Right, I start shooting, and then short while it turned dark. Right, it turned dark, and that time my mother-in-law asking, "Hey, ask my son quickly go and bring all the clothing. It's going to rain, man. I think all suddenly dark." But because he's not aware that the annular solar eclipse is happening, so totally dark for that few minutes, right? So what happened is I managed to capture the annular solar eclipse at 101, right? And then until 101, until it ends at about 205. Right, that time they call it the Ring of Fire annular eclipse. I remember during this period, even our Sultan of Johor also took leave to see this one, and even the Singapore President also take leave to watch this annular eclipse. Right. So actually, the solar eclipse started at 11:20, maximum 1:15, and end about 3:12. Now, so what question is, if you want to take this picture, but your eye you cannot see, right? It's very damaging. So you have to wear some protective solar eclipse glasses on your side. What about the camera? It will also damage your camera if you shoot, because you're shooting direct into the sun, right? So what I did is I used my n-stop non-density, neutral density filter to put in front of my camera. Otherwise, how to see if you shoot with a normal camera, you get nothing but just plain white because it is too bright, right? So I use the 10 top ND filter so that you can see the light of the sun, right? And then last year, although there was an annular eclipse, right? But in Malaysia, you cannot see. Malaysia is only able to see partial, right? The annular part you cannot see because of our location. And again, to suit this one, I use a 10 top ND filter. I use an aperture of 16. My shutter speed was 1/8,000 per second, right? To shoot this solar eclipse, right? And then I showed you the sequence of picture that I took from 3:12 until its end, about almost 5, right? We just like eating apple away, right? So here. Right? But if in another country, they can see the annular, you will see the whole thing. But here, Malaysia, this is what the best I can get. Okay, and then the latest one, annular solar eclipse in this year happened in June 10th. But unfortunately, only certain northern country near to the Arctic side, Greenland, you can see. Malaysia cannot see. So what I'm showing you is the picture that was live from Canada by the live from Canada North Bay, and also by astronomy by the astronomy by the Bay to show partial the process of eclipse happening, and towards the end the annular eclipse. And then in certain part of New York, right, you're able to see a very strange solar eclipse, right? You see the sun coming out, sunrise, but it's already eclipsed, right? So what it saw was finally was like this. We call it the devil horn or solar horn, right? Coming up from the horizon, right? Because of the eclipse, it looks like a devil horn. Now let's move on to lunar eclipse. We talk about solar, now talk about lunar. Lunar, if you look at it here, what is the difference between all the eclipse? You have penumbra, you have partial, you have total, right? So if your lunar eclipse is only penumbra lunar, you only see the moon like that. You won't change color, and it's quite difficult to see, right? But if it is partial, that means the moon actually, the moon is here, right? You can see partially covered in darkness, right? And if you total, when the moon reach here, it turns reddish or black color, right? So if your lunar eclipse is total eclipse, you will see this is starting from this to this to this, and then come back again to here. That's the whole process, right? Partial, until here, starting, go here, then go back, right? Okay, 2018 is a very memorable night for me when I decided to take this lunar eclipse. I remember I sit down 10 p.m. sitting outside my gate, waiting for this to happen, right? And it only happened about one something, right? Because it was the century longest lunar eclipse. I mean, in the 100 years, this is the longest. Right? So from here, you're able to see all these three stages. Okay. That means at 1:14, it started eclipse. Then it go into total eclipse or totality for 1 hour, 43 minutes, right? That means 3:30 to 5:13. And then it ends about 7:28, right? Okay. I sit the whole day outside, right? And after that finish, then only I go to work. Okay, so this is how it is when eclipse start. It look like this, right? Then when it reach the maximum, 3-something, 3:30, become very nice red, and then it slowly change back again. See it end, right? And because there's a hill on the right of my house, so when it settle down, it's always set behind all the hill trees, right? So I have put here a series of the eclipse starting with totality and then go back at end. And this is my neighbor house. Okay, and last year there's only penumbra lunar eclipse, right? That means you only see this one, nothing else, nothing of this, right? So what I did is again I stand inside my front of my house, I took, right? So my question is, you take the picture, again just like a normal normal moon, and very hard to differentiate, only slightly some darker shade only, right? So I finally, to make this picture interesting, I asked my wife, please come out from the house, please be my model for the night, let me shoot you, and then put a camera so that I can use this as a foreground for my this picture. So it started about 1:07, and then maximum 3:10 a.m. and then finished about 5:12 in the morning. Total of 4 hours 5 minutes to shoot this penumbra lunar eclipse. 2021, that was last month. Last month, again, we have total lunar eclipse. Everybody was so excited. But unfortunately, the not so good news is when the lunar eclipse reached the maximum, it was just below the horizon. Right? So what you can see is partially after that, when it come up horizon. And on that night, I remember many of us were disappointed that, oh, it was raining, it was cloud cover, it was thunder, nothing. So whole Malaysia, we cannot see anything. Luckily, we got some good photography friends who stay in Sabah, Yong Ai Ching, managed to capture and borrow some picture from her to show you and share you here, right? So it started at about 5:45 p.m. This time you see the eclipse totality only 15 minutes. Earlier was 1 hour 40 over minute, right? 2018. Okay, and then it finished about 8:52. Okay. Okay, so this Yong I Ching managed capture from about I think 6:45 like that until about 8 o'clock, right? So you can see the changes in the moon, in the red moon, or some people call it the blood moon, right? Okay, so basically for blood moon or total lunar eclipse, you have to go through all these stages: Pralamba, partial, total, and back to Pralamba, right? So if you want to capture a full one, you must wait from the starting until the end, right? To capture the full series of lunar eclipse, right? Pralamba is very hard to see. Just I show you, very hard to see, right? Okay, so if you're taking a picture, like most people will take a moon picture, very simple, right? You set either aperture f8 or f11, then you put a 1 over 250 or 1 over 125 or second, ISO 100, cut him, can do already, right? Okay, but in a total lunar eclipse, right, that setting may be okay for this part. But when the moon go under the lighter shadow of the lighter shadow here of the earth, and then when it total, it go under the dark shadow of the earth, what happened? The light of the moon is become very faint, right? So how? You might push it up, right? So that you can get the picture clearer. So to push it up, one very easiest way is to increase the ISO, right? Okay, maybe from 100, you increase to 1000 or 2000 so that you can capture the exposed. But then the more ISO you increase, the more grainy the picture become, right? Okay. So for example, let's say it's two example here. Here you're using ISO 100, right? F11, right? And you find that at full moon, no eclipse, let's say assuming your shutter speed is 1 over 250, right? But when it comes to the primary eclipse stage, you have to longer the exposure to 1 over 125, right? Okay, and then when the partial, again, you lower down, again, depend on the magnitude, and then at total eclipse, you go until 8 seconds, 30 seconds, right? Right. So what happens is a lot of people, commonly normal photographer, without astrophotography gadget, what they do, increase or pump up the ISO, right? But for astrophotographer, they got one advantage, right? I still keep my ISO low, right? I will increase my exposure time, right? But remember the 500 rule, the longer you move, what happens is the trail will begin to show up on the picture, right? So those astrographers, they will mount their camera on the star tracker because our Earth rotate on the axis 1,000 miles per hour, right? So what happens is you have a tracker to rotate in the reverse to the Earth movement so that you can capture the picture sharp and nice without any trail. Okay, this is the rising moon. When I rushed to Changi Tangku to capture this, that was about almost midnight, just before midnight, just to capture the picture and come back. Okay, these are the date of the lunar eclipse. Now, let me show you about meteor shower. Okay, we took, me and a friend, we went to Sekinjang. We take this meteor shower, about 120 meteor. Okay, the meteor look like this, greenish color, right? The meteor, right? And on that night, actually, maximum we can see 120 to 116 meteor per hour, right? But many of us can follow. We can see, but we cannot capture because it's moving so fast, right? The speed of this meteor is so fast and flying all different directions, quite difficult to catch, right? So after we finish, we go to the jetty to go and see the blue tears. But we were lucky to capture one or two meteor at the jetty, right? Okay, these are my friends, Chindi and went for this. From here you see very meteor. And after when the sunrise come out, this is the jetty looks like that. The very nice scenery. Okay, Northern Light. Northern Light. Courtney Lee, myself, and T. Wimpo and Courtney wife, we went to Finland at the northern tip of Finland to capture the aurora, right? And we're so lucky that we captured this aurora at about 2:30 in the morning Malaysian time, right? And it was quite fast. We only managed to capture it for about 15 minutes and then it disappeared. Then we had to run to another place to follow until finally we found this. When we reached another location, it already fading off, right? Fading off. Now come back to the sun, right? Okay, this is one I captured last a week or two ago. When I captured it, at first I was thinking, hey, how come today my camera so dirty, got dirt particle, until I post out in the MLS Melaka Negeri group. Then Dr Sua tell me, hey, on that day we shoot got 22 sunspot, no. So actually it is not dirt, it is sunspot, but sunspot. Okay, and this is Dr Sua sharing of how big the sunspot in reference to Earth and Jupiter, right? And these are the solar activity, the number of sunspot number that varies over the years, right? And this is how I capture the sunspot. This is my setting, 1 over F32, 1 over 2,500. This capture the sunspot. And then this is how I capture the sunburst, right? Okay, and then this is the sun halo, which I captured in Ulimuchi, Yinjiang, 19. This is kind of KL skyline. Okay, this is in Bali, the Bali sunrise. This is a volcano that erupted Mount Agong a week before I went there. This is the sunrise in Mount Fuji, winter sunrise in Inner Mongolia, the Xinjiang. And this last 1 2 weeks, I started to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to try to learn how to shoot star trail. So after practicing for a few nights, I managed to capture this star trail. And then the next few days, I get something like this. At first, while I'm taking halfway, I noticed the cloud came in. So my first reaction is I would have stopped, and I wanted to stop. Yeah, but somehow I didn't stop. And later, when I put them all together, the 137 project, I realized that the cloud actually gives me a different type of landscape to me, right? You can see the star trail, but the cloud gives me a different pattern, right? So that picture actually is from the facing south, right? And this picture is facing north, facing north the Polaris, right? Again, here I use interpolator. Here I use interval shooting, right? More exposure, I can capture more light, the what I call the light trail, the star trail, right? And again, you see the cloud come in to disturb. Okay, planet. I think this almost planet. Basically, using my camera, I shoot Saturn, Jupiter, Jupiter, and the 4 Galilean moon. These were taken last few days. Again, they're talking about conjunction. When I look in the sky, I can see the moon. All these are very small light, but I put here just to show. Okay, and this in April, it was for 3 days, right? The moon on the first day was here, right? Then the second day, it moved further down, further down, further down, right? So it's all in alignment. And this type of rare happening only happen every 20 years. Okay, so these are the conjunction of different moon, Venus, Mercury, moon, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn, right? And these are, sometimes you can see triangle. This planet form triangle, right? Saturn, Jupiter, moon, triangle. Saturn, moon, okay? And these were thought taken at different years, right? Okay, so basically I come to the end of my presentation. Basically, I'd like to thank all these fellows. This is the PSPJ, the Photographic Society in PJ, where I first learned about photography. Because through the monthly talk, 2 times outing a month, I learned, right? And these are the people that I learned, the tip and trick of photography, right? And I also go out with my photography friend, my wife, overseas trip. And also I learned some resources from the Facebook, photography magazine. And recently I get to know Warren, William, and Tama to learn some more, a little bit more that with Deep Sky, right? Now, in concluding my talk, you can be anything if you want to, right? So if you shatter the fishbowl, everything is possible. Everybody needs a fishbowl. I also need a fishbowl. So now I'm looking forward to Dr. Sua session so that I can break the fishbowl to enter the realm of deep sky object astrophotographers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll call him Super Go in our Friends of MNS Astrophotography
Thank you.
Club because he takes excellent, awesome pictures. It's also beautiful that he thanks all the people and give them the due credit. Here, we would like to now invite Dr. Sua for your knowledge that Dr. Sua organized the Malaysian Astrophotography exhibition in 2000. He's also the fellow of the IAU, the International School of Young Astronomers. Dr. Sua is also a researcher of Large Sky Area Multi-Object Fiber Spectroscopic Telescope. That's a mouthful, yeah? That is, in short, is called LAMOST in China. So for Dr. Sua, when I asked him what was his most memorable experience, Dr. Sua is like a star hunter, he would chase after comet. Yeah, he has chased comet Hale-Bopp literally all over Malaysia till Taiwan and China. So we are definitely in honor that Dr. Sua has managed to spend his time, and today he's able to share with us. So if just now you saw Super Go Bong Hiang, he shared what he captured with the camera. Let's see how stars look like when they're captured with the telescope. Over to you, Dr. Sua.
All right, thank you, Sunil. Good afternoon, good almost evening, everyone. Well, we have a lot of awesome picture image that taken by Go. Very, very interesting and then very beautiful teacher. I think most of y'all love it. I will share something a little bit different. Just add on with the additional instrument instead of using camera only. I just share some my very earlier part on building after the comets, the comet Halley, but that time during 1986, it's not easier to get any astronomy book or astronomy information in Malaysia. Only that time you to MAS. I joined MAS since 1997. That time, because MAS got a small group called Astronomical Interest Group with Mr. Louis, the guy that selling telescope. That time that we joined the group, a small group. We go around. I'm same also. I started with a camera. This is my camera, Jessica. But that time, we are not so lucky. We are using film. So throughout the night, we are depend field condition, our technique, see how good is our luck on the weather, see how dark is the sky, and then what type of target that we get it. Even though during our shooting time, we still don't know what is the result will happen in the frame until we go back and then we send to the shop to process it. Only we know that. So sometimes, so normally we took a few row of the film, go to the dark side to doing astrophotography. So sometimes even 1 or 2 row, it couldn't be success. So this is the experience. So this camera with me almost 30 years, Jessica. So we do a lot failure work, but very memory. I still keep those failure work with me. It accumulate our experience. So one thing is doing astrophotography is our determination. Just like you can see just now, Mr. Go, he travel a lot of places. He spend a lot of time, even sometimes wait for few hours, days to get a good image. But now consider lucky because we got a lot of camera is digitalized already. Throughout the night we shoot, we can immediately we can see the result. So consider my previous time is a tough time, but we learn a lot of things. And then this is a book that with me since 25 years. Inside here got a lot sky chart and then a lot of information. And then that time without internet, we can't see the handphone. Those handphone is just like Nokia 3210. You just press the button. No monitor screen that you can check any info. So we have to bring all our info on the book to go to the site, and then we use a torchlight, and then we look one by one. But again, the knowledge will accumulate from the field on the on-field work that what we test and then we try. Okay, so this is my experience accumulate since from the amateur throughout the professional. Why you can see that my profile later on part I'm get involved. I go and get a study in the master degree of astronomy, and then get involved in some professional project because it's one this one event. It happened in 1997, if not mistaken. One of the this comet impact to the Jupiter, and then they break it to 21 pieces in the atmospheres of Jupiter. That time also is in Malaysia. We only that time we have one organization they call BAXA. Now we call Space Agency, led by Professor Dr. Mazlan. From there, I know her, and then from there, I start read a lot of books, and because of interest, I get involved in really studying astronomy and astrophysics. So this is my experience. So we put it aside. Maybe next time, other times that I can talk about more interesting topic on all the astronomy's item on it. But today, we are solely focused on the astrophotography imaging. On the first part that go ahead show a lot of picture just using the camera for doing. So go ahead, done a fantastic work, very awesome picture. Well, on my part here, I just a little bit of basic add-on installment to go further on the astronomical imaging using the additional instrument, something like telescope or CCD camera. So I move in my second part of talk to just awareness everyone that if you want to become a serious astrophotographer, what gear that you have to equip up. Okay, so we go on. So we know that we have many type of telescope, and then now because of most of the telescope can be adapted to the camera. Well, because of Earth rotation, you want to shoot for deep sky object. So-called deep sky object is out of solar system object like nebulas, galaxy, or globular cluster, or further double star with a standstill dot point. You need another extra machine to compensate the rotation of the Earth. So this machine we call mounting, telescope mounting. So there's two types of telescope mounting. Very common type used for astrophotography is we call equatorial mount. Well, there's another for a big telescope or heavier telescope or computerized telescope mounting, we call our azimuth or call fork mount. That I show on the screen, these two mount. So we concentrate on the equatorial mount. You can see very earlier part in Malaysia, we can get is from the Japanese one, Rickson, even very earlier type from Mead. And then the high level expensive type called Takahashi. And then now we have a lot very good mounting, very good high technique, produce very fine accuracy of rotations, position, precise mounting. Once you just go to the equatorial mount network, you can find a lot from mini size to giant size. But then all this is suitable for deep sky, long hours imaging. It won't give you any star trail on your background. And then you can because for deep sky you need even though now we have a digitalized camera, even CCD camera, you still need a longer time to control the rotation, to make it stand still. So equatorial mount is the one that the machine that to take care about it. So you can see here, I just mentioned because of the latitude south node rotation of the Earth, and then the equatorials will move opposite the rotation. The price varies is depend on the gear inside, the finest gear, the most precise. I mean, the price is more expensive on the equatorial mount. Okay, so this is some sample that equatorial mount that used by photography, astrophotography. You can see that this is for just a small size telescope. Well, this is a big one. This a good thing for astrophotography and astronomical observer. We not only buying. Sometimes we do it ourselves. We DIY ourselves. So actually, I have a friend, our ex-president of Star Hunter Astronomical Society, Mr. Lim. He's already passed away last year. He have a workshop. He have a machine. Solely fabricate all the gear and then totally done all the big giants assembly for the equatorial. And then we have a biggest one that I can see from in Malaysia is in Bukit Mertajam. It's one of our famous friend. We called Sky Teo. You can go to his website. You just type in Sky Teo. Mr. Teo, that he is very earlier, the first Malaysian DIY a giant size of equatorial mount. That mount can carry, I think, at least 4 to 5 big telescopes on it. Now still on his observatory in Bukit Natajam. So once you got time, you can click in his website. You can take a look at it. So this is one of my friends in US that he fabricates his own equatorial mount. You can see that you can carry telescope, some telescope for astrophotography, and then those like they are normally when it's a very hardcore astrophotographer, we do it. We create our own DIY giant mounting to carry on with the big size of telescope. So well, fog mount, not say that they cannot use for photography. Fog mount can use for planet, just like this machine on the left hand side, meet LX200. I have one very accurate that you can use to shoot moon, shoot sun, a planet. I can let you see later on the Jupiter and Saturn that I shoot. And then if you want to go for deep sky, you can do it. Because of fog mount, the movement is X and Y axis. So you can see that his movement is just like go up to staircase, X, Y axis. So he didn't like equatorial mount, he go one way, rotate opposite the Earth rotation. Well, how to cater, how to get out of this? There's one, you can see that we can build a wedge, we call wedge. And then we adjust it, just make the fog mount down there have a so-called wedge equatorial mount on it, the adapter. Well, for fog mount or call out azimuth mount, normally they build for a huge telescope or a heavy telescope, like this one, X200, 60 inch, a big one normally in the observatory. We have one in Klang, Hinghua High School observatory that managed to take a lot good picture. I think in future maybe we can invite the person in charge or the student to come into MAS to give a talk about their experience. So this is the largest giant mount for professionals telescope. You can see that this is a U shape. This is called fog mount. Well, okay. So talk about mounting, but definitely that is more in details. Today I didn't touch on detail how to operate it. We got no time. Maybe other session that we can go in further how to operate the equatorial mount to adapt to the camera or telescope. Well, I think many of people here, some is a newcomer. So a lot of people, they thought telescope is just one type, like a long tube type. But actually, telescope, they got a few various type of name on the telescope and the function. The first one, refractor, Newtonian. And Newtonian is created by our very famous scientist, Isaac Newton. This is the Smith-Cassegrain telescope. We call cardioid. This one, Smith-Cassegrain, is the mixes of these two types, refractors and Newtonian. The light come in here. There's a mirror inside here, refract the light to the secondary mirror, and then refract back here on the eyepiece. So the camera, we put an adapter adapt on here, and then we can do imaging already. And then Dobsonian definitely is the Newtonian without the mounting, without the this equatorial mount, but they have a wooden like a wooden support that you can turn around. So Dobsonian is a very common use in a school for children started learning how to observe the sky. But we have a big Dobsonian also, to 20-inch. Even in Hong Kong, they happen to build a 60-inch also. You have to take the ladder to climb up on the eyepiece that to observe the target, right? Well, this is a setup how the equatorial and the telescope for the astrophotography, for serious astrophotography. So you can see that the main scope they code up with the camera. Now the secondary, secondary telescope, normally small telescope, we put a CCD, a small CCD camera. This one is just to do a star guiding, because in our equatorial side, even the equatorial mount very precisely do the rotation, but because of the Earth moving that time and the gear that the fine tip, if you use the microscope to check the gear side, because machines and carving, they still get a very fine evaluation. There will be some different of the movement, very fine micro movement. Only when you're taking picture that time you will found out you can't really get a clear picture. So and then sometimes the guiding star will out from the target. So the CCD with a monitor, with a notebook, and then we can always adjust the guide's star to the center. Well, this one, the detail, I think next time we can talk about it. Maybe I can invite a few of our friends. They are very familiar on using this equatorial mount to step by step to teach you. Okay, so you can see that this is some of the equipment that we are used for astrophotography. Okay, so and then now you can see there's those mini equatorial type. They got a different name already. It's just cater for camera. Cater for camera. Because a certain lens, you can shoot some nebula, just like on my back here. There's one horsehead nebula. If you have a longer lens, like 302.8, this one so-called mini equatorial mount, you can do it very nicely. You can get a good image on this nebula, the bright nebula. Like this one, you can see. And then the latest one, sure, CCD camera, CCDs. And then CMOS camera, they'll move to another level of astrophotography. So that one got time also. I'll try to touch a little bit for the next time. So this is just introduced to let you all know that for serious astrophotographer with the instrument, they got so many type of gear that we can use it to do it. So now I can share a little bit of my so-called my Star Hunter gear. Okay, so apparent at my home, that at my house, that I have this. I have a few still in the school. I didn't bring it back. So this is a solar telescope, Lang 60 S60. This is small 60 Takashi refractor. This is Sky 90, very powerful refractor. And then this is the restaurant. This is the we so-called a small telescope that we can carry around. Well, this is a setup. I do it normally. This is a Vixen's equatorial mount, and then I have a EN200 Takahashi, the big mount. That one can carry about 60 kg, 60 kilo. Well, this Vixen, they only can carry about 30 kg only. This is a small scope 60 that with the handheld equatorial mount. Some is without decorating machine motor, without motorized. You can use a handheld. This one is just cater for camera or short time imaging photograph only. Well, this is since that I'm looking on the, I think on the moon, on the other side. This is one of my favorite kit. Is ETX 90 mm. Very powerful. This is so-called Mastertop Smith Cassegrain. In front of the mirror is called Mastertop. Inside the mirror is Cassegrain. Well, this guy is top up with a solar filter. I'm doing the sun image the day that I post on the site. So this is I'm doing the nighttime doing the moon. Very handy. Can carry around. But you can see that here, this tripod is a giant tripod that used for my 12-inch LX200. But I modified it with another support. It can support my ETX 90. If you want to do astrophotography with telescope, you must have a very steady tripod. A little bit shaking, a little bit of vibration, you can't get you really can't get a clear picture on it. Even on the camera, we have to use the remote cable release. Not like last time, the olden time we have the cable, but now you have the digital type. Very easy already. So this is my big boy LX200. I think almost 20 years. Recently, I just bought another hand controller because the old hand controller had been non-function. So I lucky on US that they have someone still doing this. This is a classic type. Well, this is the first generation LX200, but look like now MIT already came out until the third generation already. Even the third generation, you no need to use a hand controller, just use your voice. And then they have the voice detectors. You just say telescope, move to moon, he will recognize your frequency of your voice, and then he will slew to the moon. Yeah. So and then got GPS pointing also. So my one is classic. So this machine throughout 20 years, I do a lot imaging on the planet, on the moon. So later on, I'll share some of the picture that using this LX200 to do it. So, well, this is another type we call thrust tube Dostonium. I bought it for the school. So this guy is in my school with the Astronomical Society. For Zhonghua High School, we have about 120 over kids as a member on Astronomical Society. But because of school, normally you want the children to stay at night. It's not easy. But my school is the largest boarding school in Malaysia. I have 1,002 students boarding in the school. So there's an observatory in Zhonghua High School. So 3 years ago, I get some donation, some alumni contribute, and then I bought almost about 12 pieces of telescope to let them to do the on-fields. This telescope, normally I'll let the children to dismantle. they have a module to dismantle everything until 0, and then they assembly again. So every time this, I think about more than 10 times this telescope is dismantled and assembly with the member of the student in the Zhonghua High School already. But very good telescope. The mirror is I think is the 21-inch. It's quite big, the mirror. We call truss tube. This one you can use for astrophotography also, for planet, for moon. It is very good because for those short times imaging. Okay, now, hey, Mr. Goes just now mentioned that doing solar, doing the sun imaging is thing that for us is if you know the procedure, you very safe. For those newcomer, you have to be careful. It's very dangerous thing that to do sun shooting. You must really do a lot of precaution to protect your eyes. Our retina will get burned off, I think, less than a second. You imagine you put a magnifying glass, magnify the sun on a piece of paper, very fast, and then the piece will get burned out. You know, the paper is stronger than our retina. So usually what we do, sun imaging, I told the children, before you do, you set up your camera, you set up your telescope, make sure there's a filter, make sure there's a precaution that you have to take care. So this is a filter, solar filter. So you can see that on my ETX 90, I have this small one, the solar filter. This solar filter, I think also with me about 20 years already, but still look very nice. Okay, and then he been through a few solar eclipse already. Okay, so this is a big one for my LX 200. These two both also optical solar filter. So from opticals, this is a sun that I took with my ETX 90. The day that we share together, interact, we go and a few members in MNS. So you can see that this is a sunspot. And then at the same time, I got from Soho that the same sunspot to compare with the Earth. So with the optical solar filter, normally the color came out is yellowish. Well, there's another type of, this is a comparison. Okay. So another type of solar filter is we can go and buy a Mera type, just like a paper type, or they call Mera. So we can DIY ourselves. Like Mr. Go, you no need to use those end filter. You can go to order this Melaka. You build your own adapter, adapt on the camera lens. So, but it came out, the color is white color. But depend on now the coating of the different Melaka, they can came out a different color already. So this is another type for amateur astronomer to do DIY their solar filter. Okay. Well, there's another type without filter one. Well, the expensive, very expensive telescope we call solar telescope. So I have a piece this from Long S60 by Coronado. So the good thing is for this type of solar filter, solar telescope, they can see all the granular. You can see all tiny bubble on the chromosphere of the surface of the sun. It's just like we are boiling a bowl of this porridge. When the porridge is boiled, you can see a lot of bubble pop up. So exactly the theory that the surface of the sun to pour up the heat and this their magnetic hot magnetic radius came out from the internal nucleus of the sun throughout this granular. Well, you can see that the sunspot is the darker side, is a cooler. That's why you can see darker. So during the upcycle of the this solar activity, there's a lot of magnetic radius will came out, become a solar wind, blow to the earth, blow to our outer space. Even our earth, we were facing the strong solar wind. The plasma will hit our atmosphere, and then from the northern and southern pole, go in, and then they create some sort of aurora. Okay, so this is for the solar telescope, the image. So you can see we are lucky enough, we can see a solar prominence. This is a very small solar prominence. Some you can very huge prominence. You don't realize that this is small spike. Small spike is already considered almost one size of the Earth. You can imagine how big our Earth compared to the Sun. Our Earth, how small is it? And then you can imagine from here, our human is so tiny compared to the Earth, compared to the Sun. So even our lifetime is shorter than the stellar and the universe. So bear in mind that, be happy. Try to live happy. Since you can live 60, 70, 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. But compared to those stellar objects, it's still very short time. So, okay, just enjoy yourself, become a happier human in the Earth. All right. So from here, why I love astronomy. We can see a lot of things compare human to the universe, and then we believe that it's not only we are alone in this universe. So maybe next time we got topic we'll talk about alien, talk about extraterrestrial, from searching for ET on the other side of the universe. There's so many interesting topics that we can talk about it. Okay, well, this is sunspot using the solar telescope. You can see all these tiny dot. We call granular. One about 5 to 6 granular is about less than 10 granular. You can almost one of the Earth size. Okay. Now, this is the event happened. The time go is in KL. Well, myself, I rushed to Kukup instead of supposed to book a room in JB, the most southern part. But I didn't go. Finally, I joined another group. William, they are in Kukup, on the fish village there, with Dr. Chong at USM, and then we get a very good view on it. You can see that I'm still using my very small telescope. I didn't use a big telescope because for moon and sun, we no need use the bigger size telescope. Just a 90 mm or 120 mm is more than enough. So you can see that I'm using my ETX 90. On top here, you can see that this is actually the ring of the fire happened that time. So this is, I'm using another camera using the Myra DIY filter to do the full solar eclipse. So fantastic. This is we can feel that time during the annular eclipse, when total eclipse time, we can feel the temperature drop. Really, you can feel the temperature drop. So chasing solar eclipse is a very have fun event on it. But for amateur, maybe just show the picture and then just have fun on the see how the eclipse happened. But for here, I talk a little bit for professional scientists or solar astrophysics physician, what they cater for. During that very short from Peninsula to Nearest, that short time happen, we can do a lot of scientific data collection. We can measure the size of the Earth. We can measure the size of the Sun. From the size of the Sun and the Earth, the differential, with the data that compare, we will know that how expansion until today the Sun expand. We know that Sun will be finally will be end of the world when they finish of the hydrogen fusion. They will go into the helium flush. They will go into the carbon and then finally become a brown dwarf and then just disappear on it. But because Sun, the mass not enough for him to become a nova or supernova, so he just become a white dwarf and then just fade on it. So well, by the time, how about Earth? So this is the time that during eclipse time, even moon or solar eclipse, the scientists will do all the measurement. For lunar eclipse, the scientists will do the data measurement is to measure how far the moon have been moved away from Earth. And then from there, we can calculate the contraction, the wave, the sea wave, and then we can do a lot of, for space science, for futures space moon landing, that's very meaningful for those all these data. So for scientists, this just known for on the imaging only. They get a lot of data from these two events. Okay. Well, another event is Venus and Mercury transit. We know that Venus and Mercury is our inner solar system planet. So it won't be happen like sun eclipse and solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. But we so-called there's an eclipse on the surface of the sun. We call transit. This is during the year of I think back to 15 or 16 years ago. I think the Venus transit that you can see that Venus pass by, the shadow pass by, pass by on the surface on the sun. You can see that Venus is almost the same size of Earth. So from this image, you can see that this is a real, almost if let's say you put the Earth shadow on the sun, this is the size of the Earth. Okay. Well, this is the moon. For my one is not very interesting. Mr. Go one is more fantastic than me. Okay, so this I'm using the ETX, just a single shot, using my handphone. I didn't use camera. I'm using the handphone, just do the A focus on the eyepiece to do the shooting. This is the moon. Well, this is the surface of the moon at the equator. I'm using my RX 200. So this is the first picture on the 1970 something when I import in the RX 200. I do a first moon surface shot. I believe that time I do it where there's on the one oil palm plantation very far away in Ichuk. That time we tried to chase, look for this Hellbock comet. From here, I had to tell a story that this HP comet I've been chasing for a year, with a group of people called Star Hunter. So we've been to, just like Go, we've been to a lot of places in Malaysia, and then even overseas. We'll try to record him. Before that, there's another comet we call comet Yakutake. It's the longest tails comet on the 1976 or 77. I have an image later on. I will show you. So this is the crater on the surface of the moon. Actually, if you, until today, I still love to observe the surface, all the crater on the moon, because from first day until 30 days of the face of different face of the moon, because of the shadow of the crater is different. So you will enjoy it to look for just one single crater enough. You can target it and then you can see the surface, the shadow is different. It came out, the scenery is different. Okay, so you can see that. You can see the valley. You have to use this one. You at least 120 mm to 200 to 300 mm aperture, like big telescope. Only you can get this detail on it. All right. Okay. Well, the refractor like Takashi, good refractor telescope, also you can do it. If you have a good tele lens, longer lens, like 302.8, you can get this also, no problem. Okay, so star trail. Actually, star trails for last time when I'm using the traditional one, because we can lock the shutter for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, even 5 hours, no problem. But for Malaysian weather, I can give normally when we set up our gear, that time the cloud will come. Okay, so when you frustrated, you want to dismantle it, you will get a clear sky. Finally, another 2 hours, the cloud will come and then clear sky again. So go facing this. I'm experiencing it since my younger time until now, you see. But again, it depends. If you stick on, sometimes the light will come to us also. We can get a good picture. Right, this Milky Way, my one is not good as what Go is doing. You see, just using the handphone to do a shooting. Whereas now, because of become a principal, it's not easier. The time not maybe I wait until retire. But now I know Go your maybe for in future when the MCO lifted, I'm going to join you all. I want to come back as this, have a fun on it. You see, all right? Okay, constellation that you can do it using handphone. This one is I not very clear, or maybe, but this is a Scorpion that I just took recently. Because Scorpion constellation, they have many bright stars. Is one of the bright star constellation on the sky. Even during the summertime, we have the clear sky that right now from May, June, July, you can see that on say about 8 o'clock started until midnight, you can see that Scorpion easily. So for those, you can try using your handphone first. After that, using your camera to take a look. You want to shoot for constellation, no need to use any telescope, because the telescope, the angle is very small. So you need a wider angle. So handphone will do, or just a normal camera, you can do a constellation. Like this one, you have to add some filter on it. Definitely, you have to get a longer time. Like this one, I'm using the soft filter in front of the lens, and then you can see the star get up like our portrait. This using the soft filter. Okay, so this one I'm using the star filter. So with a very bright star, but now already gone down already. Cyrus on the Canis Major, or the brightest star on the sky, you can shoot it easily. But now I think on the northern side, you can see Vega, you can see Antares, the center heart of a Scorpion also. You can get all this. You can get this. Okay. So there's another phenomenon that Go very favor on it, is a Paraness conjunction, or close conjunction. So we know that especially like Venus and Mercury, throughout the year they got two phases that there's 2 times they have the longest distance from the sun. So this is the time that the most suitable to get a view on using telescope or using a camera to do it. So we got 1 year, both of them they are very close conjunction from Venus and Mercury. Now this is during 1996 comet Yakutaki. The head is here. The dust tail very long. It's longer than Neo West. Doubles the size of the Neo West. So you can see now for the 10 years ago or 5 to 10 years ago, most of the comet are the human's name. Yakutaki is a Japanese, passed away already. He's using 25 inch of large binoculars to find out, to discover this comet. So, and that time, who's the first one to discover the comet will use the name. So Yakutaki, you can see Halley comet, Hal Bob, and then so many with the human's name. But after five years ago, you hardly see humans' name for the comet. For like NEO is a machine. It's we call a telescope, 24 hours scan the sky. It's supposed to scan the asteroid or small planet to build a data, but easily for them to scan any comet. That's why you can see Neo West, Neo 2, 3, and then there's many name with the machine. Okay. So this is a comet. He's solid. Next time maybe got chance we can talk about comets from Halley comet until today. Very interesting. A lot of story to tell. This is a planet. These 2 planets I'm using this ETX only to do it. So this is the one clear I'm using LX200, the biggest aperture to do a Jupiter. So during my degree in UK, I have a small project to observe the 4 satellite moon circulate Jupiter throughout a month. I checked the distance, and then I built a size graph, and then using Kepler's law to calculate the mesh of the Jupiter. From there also I can use the same data to know how heavy is the sun, how heavy is our Earth. So there's another topic that I can talk about it for next year and next time. Okay, well, this is a nebula. Well, nebula is very famous for those very hardcore astrophotographers using the scope, high quality scope to show it. Like this one is M42 Orion Nebula, the Great Orion Nebula that I'm using this telescope with a camera to do it. Is here. We call the swap of the Orion, the hunter, the M42 is like eagle like that. Those blue star is the younger star. Nebula is the factory that they going to produce all the young star. Okay, so this is a head Horsehead Nebula just beside the 3 star here. You can see there's a dark nebula. It create a shape like a horse head. Okay. So for nebula, this is a globular cluster. They'll gather a million of stars. We are very compact distance. If our sun, lucky our sun is on the between the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. If our sun is inside here, we will sing a song that all day long, no all night long. Okay, well, this is from just now. This one of Globular cluster. Our Hubble telescope just using his camera to shoot on the center of the cluster. You can see that how compact is a star. Just one tiny dot is our sun. Actually, our sun is a very tiny star on the sky. If we put it inside here, I think you can't recognize which one. It's just a small kid in the giant star world. You see, okay. So this is M13. That I'm using the long hours imaging using CCD camera to do a stacking on it. So this is another one, nebula we call planetary nebula. This is the object that's almost the size of Earth, but they can, during the finish of their hydrogen and helium flash that time, they can't become a nova or supernova. They can't burst it. So they just expand their gas out throughout a ring or out throughout a shape. So we so-called planetary nebula. So when the center core cannot hold the contraction of the gas expansion, so they will become a white dwarf and then fade it on the sky. This is a time that they become going to be a dead star, going to be at the time you I expanded a multiple color, a beautiful color of ring, like this one, helix nebula. This is a ring nebula. So during nebula, we have to use a type of filter. We call nebula filter. They got multicolor. So I have many small type of multicolor. It depends on the color of nebula that we want to enhance it out. You see. So
Thank you, Dr. Sua.
yeah. Okay,
I think
going to finish very fast.
yes.
I just went to. Okay, this is
We'll have a look at all the nebulas here, and then we would have to call it a day.
So this is my son in Australia. He's doing the Milky Way. This is my son doing the aurora. He got the aurora, and then well, fantastic. I talked to my son, Mr. Go. Next time we go Australia, that we can go together and then we do a good shot. A lot of dark sky in Australia. Well, okay. So thank you. But I have this cartoon here for those interesting to having a telescope. My advice is try to join a group that we telescope. You try to experience it because of many types of scope. To experience it the most suitable for you. Don't just go and simply go and buy one. After that, I believe end of the day, you will accumulate a lot of junk stuck in your storeroom. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sua.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sua and Super Go, Mr. Go. I think we all definitely ran out of time. It was very hard for me to find one spot where I could actually stop Dr. Sua because his topics were very interesting. And you can see he's given a lot of possible talks, including extraterrestrials, okay, including the Southern Lights, okay, which we very rarely get to see. So I'll take some questions now. Lucas asked, how do we actually take a good shot of the stars? You want to look at the telescope side or you want to look at the camera side? Mr. Go, I pass that question to you. How do we do that? And then Mr. Go can also answer what exactly are light pillars. That's asked by Hao Jie. So Hao Jie, this would be the answer to your question. What exactly are light pillars? Mr. Go, if you're speaking, can you please unmute?
Sorry. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so these light pillars are formed, if you look at this diagram here, right, all these are formed by tiny ice droplet or crystal inside the cloud, right? For example, the one I showed in Sabah, right, there were cloud that contain all these tiny ice crystal suspended in the atmosphere. So when light source shine onto these crystal, all right, they form these light pillars. So that's how light pillars are formed. And also the color of light pillar depends on light source. If this light source is red, then you are the red light pillar. If it's green, then you are green light pillars. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mr. Go. There's a question by Lucas. How do you take a good photograph of the star? So just now, I think Dr. Sua showed us that the sun, since it's a star, it's one speck out of many, many, many stars. But I think, Lucas, are you asking from a camera point of view? Is your question
Camera
directed?
point of view, yes.
Yes, okay. Mr. Go, how do you take a good photograph of the star?
Okay, actually stars are very big and they're very far away. Actually, so the only thing I can see is I look at it as a Milky Way. Milky Way and make a billion of stars, right? Because collectively you cannot take one by one, right? So I take Milky Way as a whole range of stars and I take, as I mentioned just now, for taking all these stars, you need a very dark sky, right? And without any light pollution, and then you set, let's say based on camera, you set at a low aperture f 2.8, or you can have a 1.8 or 1.4, and then you set the long exposure, and then you get this Milky Way that form 1,000 of stars. So hope that answer your question, because you can't take individual because there's so many, right? You don't know what is the star, right? So the only nearest I can think of is the Milky Way, and made of many stars.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Go.
CY Shu was asking about that's many exposures, 185, 242 shots overlaid into one image. CY Shu, which particular photograph are you asking about? Would you want to unmute? And she or he also asked whether the planets and moon, were they taken in one single shot?
Mr. Go has actually answered them already separately. So he said that he uses Star Max to compose the pictures out of so many shots. And then the planets were all taken with one shot. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Go, so much. I asked also Dr. Sua's a question at the end.
Yes, right, at the end there, right, about the
Yes.
yes. I think since we are at Shu's question, right? CY Shu asked at the last part, okay, about the end of the world. Okay, let's look at right. What will happen, yeah? That question on
Running out of helium, hydrogen, and becoming sun becoming a supernova.
Precisely, right. Would that be the end of our big blue marble?
Yeah,
That's the question for Dr. Sua.
I explain on the scientific way scientific angle. You know that our sun we have been gone through 50 million years. We predict that supposed to be 100 100 million years, but sorry, my dog.
Telling you that
It's okay.
I was,
No,
I was going to
have
mute somebody and I realized
I
Dr.
have
Sua was
a
the one.
weather scanner. Well, if let's say going to rain, he's going to bark already. All right. So because of sun, what that scientists have been calculate about 70 million, going to 70 million years, the sun will expand. The hydrogen field on the sun will 100% turn to helium. The time the sun will expand. So when they expand the time, they will expand until the orbit of the Earth, you see. So you can imagine no need to wait until 100 million years. 70 million years, the sun already reached our the expansion of the sun already reached our Earth already. So that time there are two possibilities. One, the sun will be get burned off totally, end of the world. Another time is during the 60 million years when the expansion, the wave will push the sun away throughout maybe until the Jupiter's orbit. But the sun, once they burn out the hydrogen and helium, he will not provide enough heat like now to the Earth. So the Earth will become an ice world, also end of the year, end of the world, you see. So, well, this is not our business. There will be many our generation. So we believe by that time, human have be able to travel to other planet or other star already. The technology might advance to go to other space. So that time we learn a lot of alien language. You see? So this is from the angle of scientific angle to talk about it lah. Well, it's not religious lah. Okay, so this is a basic that I can expand on it. All right. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Sua. Kenneth was asking about this. You know, when you take the pictures of the moon, is every shot of the moon actually the same? Does the moon, you know, the moon face, is it the same one facing us all the time?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Yes. You know, because of the rotation, the same rotation, the speed, the moon is the same like the Earth. That's why we can't see the fourth side of the moon. Actually, people will say that about 50%. Actually, no, about 60% of the moon's surface. A little bit extra because when there's a circular object, when they rotate, there will be some sort of we call shaking movement. So there'll be about nearly 10% extra you can see. But the fourth side of the moon, definitely we can't see. But now, because of the satellite space travels, space technology, that a lot of satellite like we can even like Hubble telescope, they can shoot they can use the remote method to show us the fourth side of the moon. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Jared was asking, can you share some of the astrophotography links or groups so that they can expand, you know, if those who would like to expand their interest, they could actually go into this particular links. If Dr. Sua, later, if you can put in the chat group, that is much appreciated.
For Malaysia, there's many groups already. Even though for those really interesting one, you can go to our National Planetarium website. There's they have a lot of interest group been linked up in National Planetarium website there. Okay, this is one for Malaysia.
Right. Brian W was asking either Mr. Goh or Dr. Sua, is there any limitation if we want to use, if they want to start using astrophotography. They want to use the spotting scopes, but they want to use it for wildlife observation. Are there any limitations? Maybe this one, Mr. Go, you like answer. You also snap a lot of photographs using, on wildlife. But do you use telescopes for it or spotting scopes for it? Any limitations?
So far, I have not used any telescope for wildlife. I normally only use only for camera only.
Okay.
Just for example, the 200, 500 lens which I use for the moon picture and the sun picture and the planet. I also use that for birding. Same thing.
I have a group of Taiwanese. They are using the astronomical telescope to do birding. We get a very sharp image on it. Maybe in future I'll try to show it. I'll show it to you. Yeah.
I think the photographers, the serious photographers are really going to like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Henry, go take note. Yeah.
I've been borrow one time to my ETX 90 to our ex assistant education minister, Dr. Hon. Dr. Hon is in Negeri Sembilan. So a good friend of me, and then because there's one time in his backyard garden there got a bird net. So I said, why don't Dato you use a telescope instead of using your lens? And then I borrow one for it. He do a nice shot on the birding. Yeah.
That one we have to see. Mr. Go, you were taking the light pillar, and then when you didn't know the light pillars were happening, your guide had to tell you behind you.
No, because when we reached the spot, I jokingly asked him, "Hey, can see light pillar or not?"
Right.
Then he say, "Oh, it's not impossible. If you're lucky, you may, So I do not think it was serious that it will happen, I thought it's only one time. And then when we start taking the Milky Way, and then suddenly everybody so focused on this side, and suddenly he shouted, "Hey, light pillar at the back of you." I mean, it was really a bonus, because we never expect the light pillars to happen on that day.
Precisely, because Sue is asking, is it a seasonal thing or is it just pure luck?
No, it's a rare occasion, rare phenomenon.
So it's your luck. Okay.
Luck
Okay.
is a luck.
So he doesn't use, so you can see his luck means that he waits the whole night to see it. So you all want to be lucky. That's what you also have to do. Right? A lot of times we say it's luck, but it's really sheer determination. Right? It's sheer persistence. Both Dr. Sua and Mr. Go. Okay, we'll take a few more questions before we end. We have set 2 hours, 15 minutes. Okay, hang on. Yeah, let me just see whether there are any questions. Right, that was the end of it. Right. If I missed anything, there weren't any questions from the Facebook. I think friends all over, they are saying hello and thank you for the presentation. Thank you so much, because we got to see both ends of it. One, the part at the side of that telescope, and one here, the telescopes itself. And of course, the human heart and the human mind that was capturing the whole thing. Thank you for your words of wisdom. We are just a tiny speck. That's what you mentioned. We are so small compared to time. I think we all have to be happy and be grateful for what we have. I would also like to record my thanks, because without a team of people, we wouldn't have made this talk possible, and future talks too. So first thank you is to Mr. Chandra Segran, because he, as a member of a public, immediately he volunteered to volunteer hosting this session. Then after that, we had MNS Negeri Sembilan and Melaka having a Zoom link for this session. We thank Mr. Go, because all he needed, okay, ladies and gentlemen, all he needed was somebody to ask, Go, I want to see photographs. And Mr. Go just put all together. And not only that, Mr. Go invited Dr. Sua come along. So we are indeed very, very lucky to have two superstars who are so passionate to help us, and let us understand how small we are, what actually we need to be. And also, the dog is also saying it's going to rain. So we have 51 participants now. Thank you so much. for joining us all the way until 6:15. Thank you so much to the children here. Thank you so much for keeping the chat group family friendly, because there are children around. That's why I have to stop. Okay, thank you so much. We hope that you share, you follow us through. What is the next step that we are going to do? If you are interested to learn more about astrophotography, do reach out to us. There is a Friends of MNS Astrophotography Club. We are also going to have more talks, since we know Dr. Sua can do talks. Dr. Sua, last question to you, and that's my question. Is it possible that we can have your astronomy course for us?
Well, can, no problem.
Okay. So we have 50 people who are hearing that.
Yeah.
We'll have an astronomy course, because Dr. Sua did conduct an astronomy course before. Okay. Mr. Go has many pictures, and we look forward for that. Right. Yes. We have Jared here. Oh, I specifically want to say Yuetmi, thank you so much for following us. Right. Yuetmi is here. Yes, Yuetmi. Yuetmi is my I am a fan of hers. Yuetmi, this is the time. Can I please have you say something about have hope? Because I believe in goodness, and what we felt today was a hope. We humans have hope. Yuetmi can I like Yuetmi to share. Yeah. Say something, Yuetmi.
This is totally unexpected, but thank you so
Yes,
much
yes.
for asking. First of all, I just want to say, Mr. Go, Dr. Sua, amazing presentation. It completely illumined all of us, the beautiful photograph. But more than that, I think you taught us about persistence, never give up, and not only that, the strive for excellence, how you want that perfect shot. So both of you are persistent, you strive for excellence, you never give up. So impressive. And Sunil, I'm not even sure why you asked me to speak, but I am so,
I
am
want
a
you
M&S
all to
member
know.
too.
Yeah, I want you all to know. Yuetmi has something, right? Sorry, this is, I know MNS, but this is for humanity. I really am. Every Friday, Yuetmi and Benu host a very special session. Yeah, that's something positive. So that's something that I will definitely share with all of you all. Yeah, but this is Yuetmi herself. Yeah, it's really great to see Yuetmi. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask if these two wonderful speakers can grace my space as well, our space as well, because it would be so. Like I said, every Friday we share sessions, we open up sessions to speakers who uplift our hearts and illumine our minds, and you certainly have both of you do that, wonderfully. And so I hope you'll say yes when I actually reach out to you. Thank you. Thank
Yuetmi,
you,
if they don't
Sunil.
say yes, let me know, okay? I will reach out to them. Okay, another person I would also reach out to will be Mr. Henry Go, another giant of MNS. Instrumental.
Thank you.
Yeah, instrumental for making sure we continue to be the voice of nature. Right. So with this note, let's all, I like what we do. Please, let's all give our word of thanks to Mr. Go, to Dr. Sua and his dog, right? And yeah, and we will meet again, and I will keep in touch with everybody. Let's all unmute and say thank you before we go on.
Thank you.
Give your claps. Yeah, thank you so
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so very much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, so we will end this session. Dr. Sua and Mr. Go, would you like to stay on just a little while? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You all have a safe time at home. Those who are taking your vaccination shot, stay safe, right? Those who are not, stay patient. Bye-bye. Yes, no quiz for this, right? This is a very nice sharing that we have. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Siming. Okay. Thank you to the homeschoolers who are here. Thank you to the students who are here. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Balkis. I know you were muted sometimes. Yeah, I had to mute you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Go.
yes.
Thank you, Dr. Swan. Thank you, Auntie Swinyo, for this talk.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. Hope you got your answers, yeah, to your question.
Yes, very good answers. Thank you for answering my question.
Right. Okay, the rest can leave already. Okay. Thank you, those who stayed on. Okay. You can leave the session, yeah? Yeah, I don't I. Okay. Thank you, teachers. Okay. Yes. Okay. You're able to leave. Just click on your bottom right. There is one for you to leave the meeting. Yes, that's good. Thank you. Yuvan. Bye-bye. Okay. Yuvan, you can go to the bottom right and then you can leave the meeting. There will be a button that comes up. Leave the meeting, okay?
Can
Thank you
teacher.
so much. Yes, okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Right. Reach for the stars, yeah? Okay.
Bye, teacher.
Can you leave? Okay, bye-bye. You can end. Yeah. Leave the meeting? Yeah, that's right. We have 4 Reiko as well. Ah. Thank you, Mr. Go. Thank you, Dr. Sua. We will just do a quick wrap up and then we see whether how we did on time. We started at about 4:06 to 4:12. Then after that, 4:12 to 5:06 was Mr. Go's presentation. 5:07 until now, about 6:15 like that, 6:13 like that. Yeah. So Dr. Sua, wow, 1 hour, 6 minutes.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I enjoyed
I
it.
get,
Very enjoyed it. Yeah.
Right. Not many questions that came up, but I think the presentation was very long, and those who really stayed on to learn more. Right. Just now you had me host every Friday. She does talk. Okay, she will have lots of speakers from everywhere, and they find positive speakers because I joined that group as well. So I saw you at Miss name and I said, you all too must go and give the talk there, okay? This is a very good opportunity for us to reach out to more people. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we finished. Okay. So Miss Dr. Sua, you gave so many suggestions, from yeah, you gave so many. You're like, wow, we can talk about this, we can talk about that. We want to talk about astronomy. Like you keep talking everything. I was so scared you're going to finish at 7 o'clock.
No problem for future. If you cater for the weekend normally, I can
Yeah.
join.
Yeah, mothers like me have to cook. Okay. It's
Slowly,
Yeah.
slowly.
Yeah, but it's good to have a shorter part, so it's short and sweet, and then when people ask, then you can put in more. Yeah. You can see your friends on Facebook. They were talking about this, so it's really nice. I will stop the